Okay, hi there. So for this purpose of this assignment, I'm going to interview Savannah. She's in her mid 30s and has been married for 16 years. She has two children, ages 6 and 12 years old. She is Caucasian and was raised Christian. Her parents were happily married for 35 years. Her father is a veteran who has served 8 years in the military. Her mother worked as an HR and office management. Savannah has an older brother who she claims they don't have a close relationship. Savannah is a master's degree at the University of Northern Colorado and is in the rehabilitation program. She currently works at a nonprofit organization for people with disabilities and has been there and has been working there for about close to 2 years. So she is coming in today because she reports having some anxiety issues. She has been having a difficult time discarding items and has begun carrying them around with her because she feels the need to be prepared in case of an emergency. Her obsession is scenario. Her obsessions are related to tragic scenarios and has begun to have unwanted thoughts. Her home has become cluttered with unnecessary items and is causing tensions between her marriage. She was referred here by her case manager. So here is Savannah. Okay. So hi Savannah, my name is Rosalinda.
Nice to meet you.
Is it okay if I call you Savannah?
That's fine.
Okay, so before we begin, I want to let you know a few things. So I want you to feel, this is a safe environment. I want you to know that anything that stays, our confidentiality policy is anything you hear, anything you say here will be kept here. The only time I have to report is if I feel you're a danger to yourself or others, or if there's any elderly abuse or child abuse going on.
Okay.
Okay, and if I do take notes, just let you know it's for my purposes and they'll be kept locked up.
Okay.
Does that sound okay to you?
That sounds fine.
Okay, so can you tell me more about about what brings you in today?
Well, I have been dealing with anxiety for quite a while. And lately I've noticed that the tension is it's becoming where I have these really bizarre thoughts of just cataclysmic things happening. I can't, financially things have been tough. So when I feel like okay, so things have been tough, and so like if I pay my bills and we have just a little bit of money left over, I'll start like thinking, my kids are gonna starve and they're gonna die. I mean, it just goes into these really bizarre places. Sometimes when I see a specific item, if I'm out shopping or something, sometimes I feel that need to, like, I have to have this because if I don't get it, something will happen because I don't have it.
Okay.
So it could be just like a simple object, like my kids are in school, so if I don't have enough pencils, they're not going to be able to do their homework and then they're going to fail. So I have to collect these just random items. And I think it, like I said, I think it might be, I don't know, it's just been so financially tough right now that I just, for some reason, started having this anxiety. And so I started bringing this stuff into my house, and which I think is causing even more financial strain because we're buying like unnecessary items. And I do find myself like checking to make sure everything's in order, to make sure my kids are safe, because once again, I start thinking the worst.
Okay.
I check the doors, I check when they're sleeping, I check to make sure they're okay because I'm afraid someone's going to break in, they're going to kidnap my kids. I mean, it just keeps like going on, and I don't know. They're irrational. I know they're dumb, but I cannot get them out of my head, and so I just do weird things and I can't get them out of my head.
Okay, so how long ago have these thoughts have been occurring, or did something change in the environment? Did something change in the last 6 months?
It got kind of tough because the vehicle we had broke down, and we couldn't afford. It wasn't worth fixing, and so we had to take on the strain of having a car payment, and then random things started coming up like medical bills. My husband hurt himself at work, and so his insurance didn't cover much, so then we had these medical bills. And it seemed, like I said, I've always kind of had anxiety. Why, for a while, that's always kind of been there. And I get nervous about the future, and I get nervous about things. But it just seems like the last 6 months, it just kept snowballing to medical bills. Now we have this car payment, it just seems like I cannot get caught up. And I just keep thinking we're going to lose the house and my husband's never going to get better. And it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of just changed when suddenly we found ourselves with these bills that we haven't had. And I was already worried enough prior to that.
So, you mentioned in the past you had doubt, you had some anxiety. How did you deal with it back then?
I think I just kind of worked through it. And there were definitely days where I would be distracted at work, and there were days where, I could be on the verge of crying all day. My anxiety attack didn't become crazy and I was all over the place. I didn't feel like I was having, a heart attack or anything like some of the other things you hear about. I just felt like on the verge of just crying, or I would get really angry suddenly. My anxiety would come out in either crying or I get angry.
So, at the point when you find yourself getting anxiety or becoming angry, what would you do? Like, I hear you say, you were becoming angry and all this anxiety was coming out. How were you reacting?
Well, sadly, I started snapping at people. I found myself having less patience with, coworkers, kids, even my own husband, friends. And, they would make suggestions, and it was just like, you don't know my life, you don't know what's going on. And then when it wasn't like that, it was just weeping. I'd sit at work just kind of going through the motions, not really caring. Sneak off into the bathroom and cry. And it seemed like when it would pass, maybe it took a couple days, maybe even a couple hours. Like when it passed, I just kind of got through it. It was just like, this is what you have to do. This is just get through it. Okay. And so I always felt like I could pull through it. But then I realized, later on that some damage had been done because I snapped at people who didn't necessarily need it. And so that wasn't really healthy, but that's how I just got through it. I just kind of plowed through.
Okay, so you were aware of your hoarding and obsessive compulsion disorder before? Were you diagnosed?
I haven't, that's what has been suggested by the caseworker, which is why I'm here, to see if this is something that's really going on. I mean, it kind of makes sense when I know what the symptoms are, and that's, as she talked with me about kind of what the symptoms are, and that, it's possible that I have this. It makes sense, but I'm just wondering why all of a sudden, the thoughts of everything going to hell, basically. Like, why is that happening when before I could just pull through? And it sucked, but I could get through it.
Okay, well, our main goal here is to help you work on changing your thought process.
Okay.
And, helping you recognizing those triggers before you feel the need to buy something or to,
go check my house.
Exactly,
Okay.
or feel the need to hoard, or why do I need this, okay? So what I would like to do is, there's a certain strategy there's a strategy, I should say, that's called desensitization. And what that does is when I want you to keep a record or a journal or something. Okay. So when you feel the need or feel the need to purchase or hoard something, before you buy or get the item, I want you to go through a step-by-step process and come up with reasonable reasons why you feel you need this item or object, and is it worthy of keeping or buying, and why. Okay.
So kind of journal when I look at the pencils, like the example is like when I look at the pencils and I don't, I go, oh my gosh, my kids are gonna fail. Then I need to kind of just, you're saying like step back and be like, are my kids really gonna fail?
Exactly.
That could be kind of difficult to do if I'm
Okay,
in
so
public.
so do this. Don't buy the item. Make a list. Bring the list with you. And together you could come up with either rational ideas or reasons, as you say, why you don't need this item or why you do need this item, and together we'll work through that. Okay. I would also research has shown that cognitive behavior therapy also has worked with people who have anxiety disorders, or as in your case OCD, which is resolving of anxiety as well. So with this, like I said, helping you change your negative thoughts as, okay, my kids are gonna go hungry, and or they're gonna fail. Let's change this work. Our main goal, let's work on changing those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Okay, and also, have you ever tried some relaxation techniques, or like mediation or yoga, or some breathing techniques?
Probably not, because like I said, I just need to go through it and cry and make that happen.
Okay, so would you want to try some breathing techniques when you're feeling stressed? Maybe count to 10, take a deep breath, and
Especially
relax.
if I'm out in public and I have to look at something that I want
Or
to
if you need to step out for a minute and come back in and gather your thoughts. Okay, well, I would like to meet with you over a period of 8 weeks, if it's okay with you, for at least twice a week, an hour, an hour each. So, are you okay with that? All right, Savannah. Well, it was a pleasure meeting
It was
you,
nice meeting you.
and I'll see you next week.
I look forward to seeing if we can do this. This sounds like a great plan.
All right, thank you.